G'day everyone, welcome to the FOGS Queenslander Origin Review for game number 2, a 44 points to 24 win over New South Wales. I'm joined by FOG number 58, Mick Hancock, and FOG number 198, Moses Mbye. Gentlemen, welcome to your first FOGS Origin Review.
Mark, Mose, how are you, mate?
Morning, boys. Morning,
With
gents.
a smile on your face.
Feels good to be a Queenslander today, doesn't it?
Thoughts on the game, Mick?
I think it was outstanding. I mean, like at half time, I think it was in the balance. It's like one of those games, and we sort of made a bit of mistakes. They got an opportunity, and they took their opportunities, which is that's what Origin's about. But then come out the second half, it was the momentum. At half time, it just absolutely swung, and it just never swung back again. New South Wales weren't a chance. They capitalised on everything. They were strong at everything they did. A bit like the first game, their defence. I think again, when you look at the two teams, the will not to let your mates down in Queensland, and we've both done that. It's magnified at Queensland it is compared to New South Wales. And that's what one of the game. Their defence just not giving them an opportunity to make any inroads whatsoever.
Yeah, echo that. Like a real contrast of game one, wasn't it? Like I thought we were extremely dominant in game one in the first half, and New South Wales they had no answer for it, and then probably flipped it on its head a little bit. I thought New South Wales were probably the better starters last night. We seemed like we maybe a foot or two off the pace in terms of our line speed, and then there was a few moments just before half time where I thought ignited a bit of a fire, and they would have gone in half time Queensland with a little bit of confidence brewing, and then obviously they came out in the second half and they just blew them off the park, and you could tell as soon as they kicked off in that second half, I thought there's a different attitude about them here. They were moving quicker. They had a bit more intent about them. And I thought, the scoreboard it says the rest, doesn't it? That the likes of there's some individual performances in there, just unbelievable.
Yeah, 7 tries for Queensland. We talk about the attack, but Mick, you brought up the defence, and Moses and I called the game last night on Maroons radio. That period just before half-time when New South Wales, maybe that 2 or 3 minute period, they had back-to-back sets, that defensive effort, we made the comment during the game. Yep. Looking back, if Queensland win, that moment could be it.
Yeah, well, they repelled them so many times, and when they got their opportunity and they got I think it was a luck, and I think in every sport, you just need a bit of luck, right? And there was a couple of calls that went, our way, which is great, and that's how you want it, But just before half time, they got those 2 sets, and they just looked out of sorts. New South Wales, they just could have had no continuity, not sort of. Dissimilar to what Queensland when they started, and then Queensland got their mojo a little bit, and they found, where they were going, where they should be. The lines were perfect. And that's going to take a little bit of time because that's what Origin's about, trying to get the opposition in chaos, right? Because then when they're in chaos, everyone's all over the shop, and then they get to get their opportunities. But New South Wales just couldn't get Queensland in chaos. They were just so structured in their line, and it was just unpenetrable.
Well, they had every opportunity to get Queensland in chaos with Tino Fa'asuamaleaui and Cam Munster being sent to the HIA in the first half. And that was the time Queensland was pretty much under the pump when those two were, taken out of play, and they had to react to that Queensland, and they hung on. It was critical that first half.
They're origin moments, aren't they? Like you look at that point of the game we're referencing just before half time. I think it was Robert Toyer and Jojo Fafita. They picked up Hudson Young, tossed him into row 7. And that's the moment where everyone went, all right, just that quick mindset switch. And I think that instilled a lot of confidence in Queensland's team, but also it probably took a lot of confidence out of New South Wales because they did look a little bit lost in that. They were trying to navigate those sets just before half time, thinking if we can get a score on here, go on a bit more confidence. And those two boys just big game changer. So.
Does it help when they get replaced and we get fresh players on? Does that make sense? That was late in the half. So those guys had played the whole half.
But realistically,
do you mean the HIA?
Yeah, they get taken off.
You wouldn't fresh players on, though, would you?
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah. But again, still
Tino potentially, Yep. But the worry about, is he going to pass? Is he going to come back for that 10-minute period? Are we going to lose our number one man?
I'll tell you what, State of Origin, he was never failing. They were never failing, were they? Independent. Well, I think that was the independent doctor that actually cited that. I don't think that
for Tino. For both of them.
For both of them. Sorry, both of them got.
With Munster, you didn't even see what happened because they never replayed it.
No,
well, I didn't see it anyway.
It was we were arguing that it would have been a head slam too. Why was no one placed?
Yeah, well, They didn't. You go back to it, and everyone didn't spend much time. It was just like he's off, and obviously Munster was. But how good is his form? Form at the start of the season, you wouldn't have fed him. But just that confidence coming into Queensland, at the right time.
It's a good point you make actually around the HIA and getting the fresh player on, because when the HIA rule came in, that was the whole concern, was coaches working out the system to get the free interchange.
Yep.
Remember, it was the fake, it was the fake HIA.
The old fake blood bin. I mean, Bobby Fulton Manley had the blood capsules from the World Championship Wrestling.
So I guess that with that, the HIA, I guess, is beneficial depending on which player
it is.
Because if you lose a Ponga or you lose a Munster, you're probably going,
Or Harry Grant last night.
But if it is a front rower and you're going, hang on, I get a free.
We're going to change him in 3 minutes' time.
We've got a free 15-minute crack at it.
As long as he's able to get back on. Back to that first half, 12-8 at half time. The reality of it too, even though I think we all agree the first 20 minutes New South Wales looked really good and Queensland was struggling to keep up. But the only try the Blues scored was that drop ball from Flegler, picked up off the ground and they scored. And that's it. That was the only try, the only really time that Queensland's defence was under pressure.
They never looked stressed, Queensland.
No.
Like Potty and I were calling the game last night, but I never sat there and went, we're in real trouble here. Like I felt every time, maybe our left edge, Cobbo came up and jammed a bit early sometimes, and it sort of gave him a little bit of space around there, but our process to cover him behind the line, and you just thought, mate, there was about 4 or 5 maroon jerseys coming across every time New South Wales went down that sideline. So never, I don't know, it didn't really trouble us.
And New South Wales only got out of trouble through Moses' boot. That's the only way they got 65, 75 metres down the field. They were lucky to get past 30 metres. And that's what confidence grew within Queensland, knowing that they can't get out of their own half. They're going to have to keep booting us down. They can't put pressure on our our catches. And we can just bring the ball back and play footy, But New South Wales, they were just under the pump constantly, And that's the difference.
Well, I think only one of their forwards got over 100 metres. Payne Haas played 55 minutes, I think. Mitch Barnett, 35, and Adam Fanua-Blake played 10.
Yeah, I don't know. That was a bit weird. That was weird what they did with Fanua-Blake.
I'm surprised he got on, if I'm being honest. I thought he was the one to miss. I'll tell you who they missed, New South Wales, is they missed young Blake Brayley.
Yep.
Mate,
why wouldn't they're throwing Coruscant on?
Well, that's what I mean.
I think they missed Ethan Strange taking the line on as well. Mitch Moses doesn't take the line on.
I would have left Strange there. They'd won the game. And then I just would have left him because he's in his work and his footwork and his speed. That just puts teams in doubt straight away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
His ability to beat defenders.
Yeah. And even when he got on the other night, he played in the middle. They just got him by 1 foot at certain stages. He's quick and that's what I would have stuck with him. But it's going to be interesting now who they go with again.
Yeah, they're going to have a tough couple of weeks, New South Wales, that's for sure. Looking at some of the
up down there this morning.
Imagine
waking up. Poor old Loz.
Looking at some of the stats from last night, Queensland had more of the ball, 55% to 45%, and only 2 incomplete sets in a game at any level is great. But at Origin level, control the football, control the game.
Down in Melbourne, we've got a great record there, but dewy ground, slippery. You can see players slipping over everywhere. So that adds a little bit of more, technicality to it. When the passing, some players might just slip a little bit as a pass going to the right places. Yeah, to complete at 95 at any level is fantastic. But at that pressure cooker, and had to win the game. Let's put that in perspective as well.
And down 12-2.
Yep. So that's Billy's done some great work there. But 55%. Look, it's about a 95, 97% now that I reckon. I've been watching it a little bit, studying. So, if you get 51%, you're 95% chance of winning the game. So,
it's 42 sets Queensland had. Like, they completed 40 of them. Like,
And the 2 that they didn't complete, Tommy Flegler dropping the ball in the hit-up try. And then Lindsay Collins having it strip with a shoulder charge from Reece Robson. Try on the back of that. So the 2 incomplete sets led to 2 of New South Wales' tries.
It
does show you how important that is.
Those numbers are impressive. Like, you give any side 40 sets, it's going to be hard to stop them scoring points, let alone if you throw in Kalen Ponga, Cameron Munster, Harry Grant.
So basically 1 try every 6 complete sets Queensland scored last night.
But you know what? That's the way the game is in this modern day. That's how it goes. It's possession. As you mentioned, Mick, and it's being able to just empty their tank. Like you got the Blues were just, they would have been gassed.
And when they needed to get back in the game, New South Wales, they were flat. They'd done so much work defensively. They've been up and back and up and back. And you could see that they just didn't have much left. Mick, here's an opportunity for you. Selwyn Cobbo.
Outstanding,
winger.
Mate, his form, and I love him he's a great kid. He's got a great demeanour and great family, and he loves his footy. That's the other part, and I think sometimes when you're at an organisation and it's just not happening for you, it's not enjoyable. As my father always said, change is as good as a holiday, and the change has done him fantastically well. I mean, Wolfie's getting some great things out. I think he scored 6 tries in the last 4 games at the Dolphins. His first Origin game, I thought he was man of the match. You know what I mean? That's a bit biased, but look, his work rate at the line they are taking so much energy to actually get him down. I mean, there's 2, 3 guys into the tackle. And he's not just doing 1 or 2, he's doing like multiples. He probably did, I don't know how many hit-ups he did last night, but it would have been close to 15 to 20, you know what I mean? And that's helping the forwards, giving them a break. I mean, he does so much at the moment. And he's scoring tries as well at the same time.
And those hit-ups aren't just carting the ball up. They are smashing it.
But he's taking off his try line. They're the hard ones. And when you're taking off your try line and they're just beaming to get a hold of you, and they're not doing that. You know what I mean? He's actually bending the line, getting to his front, get a quick play of the ball, and we're just playing footy off the back foot. And that's what you want as a ball player, the halves, Harry Grant in the middle. They're just loving what he does because they can just play footy off the back of it and get some advantage down through the middle. So
I thought he was the best on the field in game 1, and I thought he was even better last night. And it's like what you just mentioned. It's not the amount of work he's getting through; it's the quality of the work he's getting through. Every time he's carrying the ball, he's either leaving a defender on the ground, getting a quick ruck for blokes like Harry Grant, and something that he's been criticised for in the past, like when he was developing and coming through the system, was his effort. And sometimes his ability to stay in games. Like, he would come up with big plays, but he would often drop out of games. You see in game 1, first half, Ponga gets a kick receipt and he's pushing off his shoulder line break. Like, you didn't really see that from Selwyn Cobbo. That wasn't really something that you would have previewed on Selwyn Cobbo coming through the ranks. He's found that extra. And you got to credit, I mean, Christian Wolf. I know you can tell what his sides are built on. Their effort, hard work, all those values that would fall in line with what State of Origin is about and what Billy Slater would be about. And then you throw in a sprinkle of bit of Slater magic. I think this is a product we're starting to see of Selwyn Cobbo.
But he's buying into whatever system he's going to at the moment, whether it's at the Dolphins and then coming into Billy's. Whatever he's doing, they've unlocked the key, put it that way. So.
And JJ Fafita hasn't been far behind either. He's been terrific in his first 2 games. It sort of leads into the next discussion. I reckon one of the toughest jobs last night after that game was to come up with the player of the match, because you could have given it to a handful of Queenslanders there. Sam Walker, and I'm not being I have no dramas with Sam Walker getting it, but gee whiz, you could have picked a couple of players, Harry Grant, Selwyn Cobbo, we've just mentioned. There were so many great performances from Queensland.
I don't think there was a kick missed by either team. The goal kicking last
8 from 8
ridiculous.
He kicked Sam Walker from the touchline.
But I think Cleary was the same one. He'd got all his, and they were all from the side. There was none in front. I suppose when
the penalty goal and I think the last try, Lero's try.
But apart from that, they're just, when you're going up in sixes, that's putting pressure on the opposition. They're playing pressure on the scoreboard, pressure on the score. You know what I mean? It's just, and that's what you want. If you've got a goal kicker, you've got a big advantage, and that's what both teams had last night. But Sam Walker, and that his ability to, again, it's probably the society part at the moment, as in young kids, no fear, any time on the field, doesn't matter if your team's under pressure, I'll put this kick in and they get a reward. It's just, look, he only had 1 kick that went dead and they had the 7 tackles, but apart from that, his skill is, it's a bit like his father, you know what I mean? But, they just play it and they play as they see. It's that backyard footy mentality. And it's, it's great to watch.
Well, when Tommy Dearden went down, there was questions of who's going to play halfback, etc. And one
Tommy
of the
who?
things, the Wally Lewis medalist for the last 2 years.
Back to back.
But the point being that, Sam Walker was in the reckoning, but those that wanted to be negative were questioning his defence, whether it would be up to it at origin level.
Yeah.
He's answered that, has he not? Everyone's been talking about his goal kicking, his attacking play.
Yeah.
His defence, I think, has been outstanding in these 2 games.
He's a tough kid. You know what? He's not a small kid.
No.
He's
tall.
That's what I mean. Everyone keeps comparing him to Alfie Langer.
Yeah.
He's about a foot and a half taller than
Taller
Alf.
than Alf, yeah.
Oh, no,
but everyone is.
Yeah, I mean, everyone is. But everyone, the chatter around it is like it's another Alf, a little halfback.
Yeah.
He's taller than me. Like he's not a small bloke. And I mean, going back to the man of the match debate, I mean, no one's arguing that Sammy Walker, he got it. But I guess you go the contribution to the game or influence on the game, like, and how you view those. Like, I thought Harry Grant had a bigger influence on the game.
Yep.
But I thought Sammy Walker, you throw in 16 points of goal kicking, he probably had a bigger contribution to the game, didn't he? The outcome.
Yep.
So.
And
I guess
the
there's two ways to look at it there.
Yeah, and the point you made, Mick, about going up in sixes, but there was also on 2 occasions from the touchline. Not only did he take the team up in sixes, he put them 8.
Yes, correct. Every time. That's right. That extra penalty goal. Yes.
Yeah. So those, you miss one of those. Yeah, you don't go up in sixes.
Yep.
But the opposition goes, right, we're only a converted try behind.
Yeah, correct.
Then it becomes 8. Oh,
remember it's 8. You've got to score twice.
So it was huge. And Harry Grant was outstanding. And the thing that I liked about the Queensland performance last night, out of the 7 tries, they were 7 classic. I don't think we'll see a better try, a rugby league football brain, whatever you want to call it, than Trentley Arrows.
Oh.
That whole, take it back, the whole package of that play that ended up with Trentley Arrow, and I'm talking before the tackle.
Yes, right, yeah.
The way they got themselves into that position.
Yeah. But even
that was classic.
Maxie Plath, just a little, he could have done anything there, right? Does that make sense? He could have went wide or whatever. But he thought about it, just a short little pass, and bang, it was all over. So they all played their part in that sequence, you know what I mean? So
and Liero was there to make the most of it.
And that stemmed from Harry Grant too.
Yep.
I mean, he 5th and last, you've been under the pump and make a line break down the left-hand side to get decent field position. I mean, 9 out of 10 hookers and halves are putting a decent kick in there. And he said Harry Grant picks it up short, scoots down the short side. Beats 2 markers and then turns it back over.
And had players with him. And Cam Munster, the one-handed pass over the top. Max Plath later for one of the tries. The two-handed pass over the top. Footy players playing football on the biggest stage.
That's why Origin's so good, by that. Like you're picking the best players in the world at this sport that we love. And you put them together and that's what you come up with. That's why it's so good. And I guess that's why we get to come in here this morning and talk about it, because it's so there's so much to love about the arena of State of Origin.
Harry's, but his form, but he's running from dummy half a lot more. Does that make sense? So the players before him are giving him an opportunity, number one. But not only that, he's just running now, putting the opposition under pressure. I mean, that's what you want from your hookers, right? You know what I mean? So get us on the front foot, put them under pressure. Again, that word chaos, get him in, everywhere. When you're that Clear is at dummy half there late, he thought he was going to pass. Bang, he's just going, chasing hard. Bang, bang, see you later, it's try time. You know what I mean? And that's what you're after. So they're just now thinking, what's he going to do? How's he going to go about it? When's he going to run? When's he not going to run? So they've just got doubt all over the park now about what's going to happen and what's Queensland going to do.
Well, they've got doubt all over the park now as what team they're going to pick for games
correct.
as well.
Yep.
So you'd much rather be in the winner's position, Queensland, heading into a decider with the performance they put in. It wasn't just a 14-12 win.
Yeah, correct.
I don't think the scoreline, 44-24, was necessarily a true reflection.
No.
They had a big chance of, as we said in the call last night, Moses, of hitting 50 Queensland.
Yeah, I know.
And New South Wales got a couple of tries off drop balls.
Yep.
Yeah. New South Wales, we're probably biased. We are biased. We're biased Queenslanders, and we put our hand up and admit that. But I just from an observation point, I just feel like New South Wales, their spine, they're all individual brilliant players.
Yep.
I just don't feel like they're a connected group. And something that I saw last night, walking around the shed pre-game, I never saw Mitchell Moses talk to one other spine member. And this is just from the broadcast on Channel 9. I don't know if many people pick up on this stuff, but I was watching it. He was never once with Nathan Cleary. He was never once with Reece Robson. He was never once with James Tedesco during the broadcasting, only what we saw. I watched Queensland. They sat down together. It was Kalen Ponga, Harry Grant, Cam Munster, and Sam Walker all sat side by side in a chair having these mini conversations. Yep. I mean, it's take out what you will, but for mine, from a coaching perspective, when you're getting these teams prepared, you're going, my group know what they're doing, Drake, because they're having a conversation about it. Yep. There's no stone left unturned. Yep. They're talking about what's ahead. Yep. And you're very confident that they're going to get that job right because they know what they're doing.
There's a difference between a disconnect and a connect, right? Obviously, we were connected; they were just
and
disconnected.
And we don't know that. We're on the outside.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can only go off what you can see on the broadcast, and that's what I noticed last night.
Yeah, it's a mountain to climb for New South Wales coming to Suncorp Stadium, but it's also important that Queensland, I suppose, don't get too far ahead of themselves. We've still got a couple of weeks to go before Origin 3. There's some NRL matches to be played. Anything can happen injury-wise, but you just get I certainly get a sense, and you guys having been there, from the top down, there's a level of calm. There's a level of knowing what we, need to do and what we have to do to win a game of football. And you looked at Billy Slater in that dressing room at half-time last night, and that calm then goes through the rest of the team, I think.
Yeah, well, he's got a calm nature, number one, to start with, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I've only met Billy, a handful of times, you know what I mean? But you can just tell the calmness within the whole group, like you said, you know what I mean? And but then you throw in your character Alf, you know what I mean, who can sort of break that sort of tenseness about it when you need to. So they've got a really good balance.
Well, you know how important that is too, don't you? Origin can be an overload for some players.
Yeah. And look, you always need that get-together. We've just got our first night. Let's bond. Let's do what we have to do. You know what I mean? Alf's really good at that. You know what I mean? And but not only that, if there's a tense moment within the training session, you know what I mean, which does happen with Origin and the build-up, and then Alf always just comes in and knows when to break that up, and everyone just relaxes a little bit. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then it's all right. Let's focus again, and we build up again. You know what I mean? So, and Billy's got that. He loves that history part about Origin. About what it meant to, for all the people that come before us, you know what I mean, and what it means to play for Queensland. I don't know, New South Wales, Laurie hasn't had success at Origin, and they go back to him again. I didn't see what benefit that was going to give them. You know what I mean? It's just showing that everything that they do and the stories coming out of the camp is just everything's just disconnected instead of being connected, and calmness and working towards a victory. That sort of there's a lot of individuals in that team. It's not a team collectively, not like Queensland. You know what I mean? It's like it's like that. Let's just put all these great individual players in there instead of thinking about who should be together. Like they're missing Martin. You know what I mean, in that back row. You know what I mean, for sure. You know what I mean, but again, where do they go?
Potentially could come back.
Yeah,
I don't know if Latrell wants to play.
Well, I mean, they can worry about the selections with Stephen Crichton and Olakuatu.
But Tedesco, I mean, I wouldn't have went back. They'd put in Edwards.
Dylan Edwards wasn't playing poorly.
No.
Can I just, before we wind up, Mick, I'll give you an opportunity here to talk about an old teammate of yours' son. Yep. We've spoken about a few of the debutants this year. Max Plath has been outstanding for Queensland.
Yep. Let's be honest, he's a toiler, right?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
He's an Origin player.
He's an Origin player.
Yeah, but he's a great toiler.
New South Wales?
No, it's a good point.
That's what I'm saying. So he's that glue, right, that keeps us together, right? And you need them in your team, right? Those unassuming, but they just get Dallas Johnson, all those type of players, right? They just get the job done, and without no fanfare. So all those we don't really see it a lot, right? But if you break the game down and analyse it, he's made so many tackles, and he's there when he needs to be. He's that link between the forwards and the backs, and he's just that one of those. He's like his father, complete. You know what I mean? So you just need him. You come on, you can put him anywhere. He'd play there, and he would give you 100%. And he wouldn't let you down. So you don't have a whole team of them, but you need a couple of them in your team that's going to do that role.
They're your reliable players.
Yes.
You just know what you're going to get.
Every time.
Well, they've got to do it again in Game 3 on July 8 at Suncorp Stadium. It's one of those days today where if you hadn't seen the game last night and you go into work or you go to the shops or whatever it may be, you know Queensland has won. It's just a remarkable day after an Origin win, and particularly 44 points to 24. I thank Mick Hancock. I thank Moses Mbye for joining me. We're back with our FOGS Origin preview for game number 3 on July 6, Monday, July 6, and we look forward to your company then. Thanks for watching this episode of the FOGS Queenslander Podcast. If there's a FOG you want to hear from, leave a comment to let us know. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our videos.